That van right there now.
He is. It's exactly what he's doing. Are you Googling the laws right now?
Henderson Police Department's SWAT team responded to the scene and set up a perimeter around the condominium.
I travel in and out of time zones.
And the 3 key rules for a criminal defense lawyer: always on time, impeccably dressed, and occasionally sober.
The yellow sports car up ahead won't stop. Then something happens you might expect in a Spider-Man movie. It wraps around the tire of the fleeing vehicle and stops all forward motion.
Objection, asked and answered.
I mean, he leaps over the fucking bench.
No, the thing is, that's my property. You have no choice.
Actually, I do, because I found friggin' Xanax bars on your driver's seat. If you want to explain something, explain those.
Cops get very frustrated when you don't answer their questions.
No.
Step back forward.
He's gonna go straight. There's a car right here. Got him.
All right, I'm going to excuse everyone. Mr. Brooks is being removed from the courtroom.
This is fucking hilarious. So he pulls out a joint in court.
Go, 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 go.
Turn on your stomach! Stop fighting us! Stop resisting!
The injury by the police, that may be a separate issue for you to file a civil suit.
Chris, just while he's doing that, talk to me. What were you running for again? Warrants? The felony warrants? City warrants what?
Felony warrant on Kansas.
Well, I'm pretty sure they ran you, and you don't have any warrants.
I don't.
No.
No warrants.
No. It's all that for nothing, right? No warrants, no nothing.
Yeah.
Police! A little farther, bro. A little more. Okay, go. I'm not finna sit here and let you fix the trial because you don't want to tell the truth to the jury.
We're there, guys. Got eyes on.
I want to suck. Yes, I think I would like to suck your dick. I don't think so.
I prefer not to.
I prefer not to, sir. See, that I love that.
So do you wish to say anything?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Well, hello, welcome back. Welcome to from wherever you're coming from, whether you're on the live crew, replay crew. Welcome back to the Defense Rests. Buckle in, buckle out, buckle up, and buckle down, because true crime's back in town. Now we're going to go over Miss Idiot here, rookie mistake. Yesterday on my live stream, put up all of the pre-trial release motions that I actually read out, but apparently the way that I put them on the screen, it muted my mic, and you guys all missed out on the amazing commentary. It was hilarious. So we'll go through those again today, and hopefully this time you'll be able to hear me. But I did a little bit more research last night as I was talking about the case and the actual quote from Dennis Ward regarding Ty being shackled back to Florida. And I have found the article as well as a couple of other things. So we shall go through that together today. So thank you again for joining us. Welcome. And hey, Bri. It is just evening, 5:30 in the evening here. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. You're welcome to jump on if you want to. Just let me know. All right. So let's get to this. So this is in the keynews.com from Florida. And it's treehouse suspect taken into custody. So this was published on the 7th of May. So, authorities remanded into custody treehouse murder suspect Franklin Ty Tucker on a $3.1 million bond late last week at an airport in Oregon after he failed to take a drug and alcohol screening at his scheduled time. So, he didn't fail the test. He just failed to take it at the right time. Authorities reportedly took Tucker into custody on Friday, May 3rd, in the smoking section of Portland International Airport in Oregon, because that was important to add that it was in the smoking section. But Monroe County State Attorney Dennis Ward said Judge James Morgan III, not the second, not the first, but the third, had issued a bench warrant for Tucker to be taken into custody after he failed to submit to the screening at the said scheduled time, Ward said. A judge in Oregon will have to hold an extradition hearing, which we watched yesterday, where Tucker would almost likely agree to be transported to Monroe County. He will be taken across country in a transport van where he would be in shackles or secured in some way, Ward said. Okay. Hang on. That deserves a little bit of... I've got to do it.
You should off you fuck.
Right. Shall we continue? Tucker admitted he did not do the drug and alcohol screening at the scheduled time, but tried to, and the agency conducting the screening was experiencing computer-related problems and he had to return at another time, he told Keys citizens before being taken into custody on Friday. Now, apparently, that's a half-truth, and he was late, according to Lauren, both days. So he went to go in on the actual day he was supposed to submit and missed his appointment, and then the following day did the same thing. But even so, $3.1 million. Yeah. Where was I? He did eventually take the test, he said. He was in contact with pretrial services case manager about the issues, he said, which he apparently did speak to pretrial services and notified them that he wasn't able to take the test on the previous day. Tucker planned to fly to Key West to resolve the issue, as he told the Keys citizen. He wanted to file a motion to quash the violation and keep the currently roughly $70,000 bail. Tucker was initially bonded out of jail on a roughly $2 million bond, but later had the bond reduced. Yeah. They want to make a statement, I think, Bri. I think they want to make it as uncomfortable as possible, and that's how they're going to do it. Monroe County Sheriff's Office deputies arrested Tucker, Rory Detroit Wilson, and John Travis Johnson in November 17, 2017. In the November 17, 2017 robbery of Paula Belmont and the murder of Matthew Bonnet in a building known as the Treehouse. If found guilty, Tucker could face life in prison. Wilson has been convicted and sentenced in the case, and Johnson accepted a plea deal in which he received time served in jail while awaiting trial in exchange for his cooperation in the case and testimony on behalf of the state. So basically, he took a plea deal, he served his 5 years and agreed to testify against Ty. And that has now been recanted, his statement, confession, testimony, whatever. A jury in the Treehouse murder and robbery trial of Tucker could not reach a unanimous verdict in the case on January 25th, and the case will be retried later this year. That's in September. Tucker has been under house arrest in Oregon since initially posting a $2 million cash bond in 2019. Shortly after, Tucker married millionaire CrossFit co-founder Lauren Janai. They separated a year later and have been living apart since. The bond was eventually released to $70,000. They are still in contact, and I don't believe there is any animosity. In a memo obtained and reviewed by the Keys citizen, Jones was informed that Tucker tested positive for alcohol on October 16th. The judge was notified on October 26th and instructed pretrial services to counsel the defendant and adjust their testing schedule in a November 2 response. Okay, that's the end of that one. So let me stop sharing that one and go to the next one, because I found another one. And this is Keys Weekly. Let's get out. No, I don't want to subscribe. Thank you. Treehouse murder suspect Franklin Tyrone Tucker jailed in Oregon on a $3 million bond. 3.1 actually, but what's another 100? A Monroe County judge on April 30 issued an arrest warrant for the suspect in the 2017 murder of 59-year-old Matthew Bonnet on Stock Island, a case that became known as the Treehouse murder, for the open-air location where a woman was living at the time, Paula Belmont. Franklin Tyrone Tucker, 52, same age as me, don't tell anyone, has fended off prosecutors since then and walked out of court in January on bond after a hung jury. He has been free after posting a $2 million bond in 2019. I like how they exaggerate that. But on May 3rd, Tucker was arrested and booked into the Multnomah County Jail in Portland, Oregon, after Keys court officials said he violated the conditions of his pretrial release by missing a scheduled urinalysis test for alcohol. Now, I don't know if anyone else thinks that a $3.1 million bond and a van trip across the country in shackles is worth a bit of pee in a cup, really, but just putting that out there. Monroe County Judge James W. Morgan III signed the warrant and set a $3.1 million bond. At press time, Tucker remained in custody in Oregon. He's due to appear at the Monroe County Courthouse in Key West on the 17th of June at 1:30 p.m. I think that's the motions hearing, pre-trial motions hearing, to go through all the motions that both him and the state have put together. And they were trying to get him down there so that they could address them all on the same day. But he has a status hearing in Oregon on the 24th of May at 9 a.m., just in case he's still there. Before his arrest, Tucker took to Facebook to decry the arrest warrant as yet another unfair move against him by the criminal justice system. I know it's most likely a trap, even if it is, and while I have a bad feeling about it, I'd rather walk in like a man than be dragged in like a dog, Tucker wrote. Tucker said he eventually took the test and only missed the previous scheduled one because when he arrived at the lab, he was told he couldn't take it. However, the pretrial services officer's report says Tucker told them another story. The lab had a computer issue, and also he'd been feeling ill for the past 2 days. The lab said Tucker's registration had expired by the time he made it through the line after waiting 10 to 15 minutes, according to the same report. Tucker has been fighting charges that he fatally stabbed Bonnet during a robbery on Stock Island. After a series of tabloid-style twists, Tucker became the story. He married a woman who's a regular item in New York's Post Page 6 column, posted a $2 million bond, and after Court TV's gavel-to-gavel live stream coverage of his trial in Key West in January, became a minor cause celebrity with an online following. Tucker represented himself at court, pro se, which is the whole reason he wanted to do it pro se, so that he could attract the attention that he wanted to attract to expose what the goings on down there were, what was happening, basically. And he's achieved that. Monroe County Judge Mark Jones declared a mistrial. Oh, hang on, sorry, Mr. Rowe. Tucker represented himself at court, and while his amateur lawyering frustrated prosecutors, well, he's not a lawyer, so he did a pretty good job to get a hung jury on his own. He raised enough doubt in jurors' minds to dodge conviction. Well, there has to be enough doubt because there is no evidence, nothing. Monroe County Judge Mark Jones declared a mistrial after jurors couldn't reach the required unanimous decision. Deliberations began and ended on the same day with the majority of the jurors voting guilty. A couple had questions. I think it was 9-3. 9-3. A juror told Keys West Weekly this week that in the end, a lone holdout juror refused to budge from her decision that Tucker should be acquitted. That led to the hung jury. Okay. On January 29th, Judge Jones disqualified himself from the case and the court assigned it to Judge Morgan. Now, if anyone's been watching, Judge Morgan is the newest judge down there at Monroe County, and we all sort of had a bit of hope that a bit of fresh eyes, fresh judge might be a little bit less biased, perhaps. But we've since found out that not only is Judge Morgan, Judge Jones's protege, he was nominated for the judicial position and sworn in by Judge Jones, and holds Judge Jones in extremely high regard. So he also has a military background. So not only does he have Judge Jones's attitude, but he is regimented as well. Monroe County State Attorney Dennis Ward's office wants a judge to place a gag order on Tucker, citing his regular Facebook posts and videos on his YouTube channel, in which he discusses his case and accuses prosecutors and the sheriff's office of misconduct. We'll get into that in the next 24 hours. Tucker announced plans to have his wife, Lauren Janae, interview a witness in the case despite a no-contact order that forbids him from having direct or indirect contact, including contact through a third party with the witness. Just a bit of perspective, this arrest just happened to coincide when the state was trying to reinstate this particular gag order. The Monroe County State Attorney's Office has no plans to drop the case. No. A man's life was lost and he was involved in it. Prosecutor Joe Mansfield told Keys Weekly on Friday. He needs to be held accountable for it. Okay. Tucker was charged with the fatal stabbing of Bonnet along with assault for the slashing of Paula Belmont. She ended up having a 7-centimeter cut along her neck. But she testified in Ty's defense when the trial was going on in January. She was not with the state. She was with Ty. So she has nothing to gain. If someone put a knife to your throat, you're not going to go and testify on their behalf. It doesn't work like that. And she was so very, very ill, she was adamant that she was going to testify, and her testimony was heart-wrenching because she was in hospital at the time and could hardly breathe, and she has since actually passed from complications of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So she passed in February, unfortunately. But she does have 3 depositions on file, and obviously her testimony in court that they can use. So it just doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? What is it with these judges? Oh, yeah, absolutely. They don't want anyone to know what they're doing wrong. And there was something that I was watching on another channel with Nicholas Starrow. He's a lawyer in, I think, Holland. He's very funny. He looks like Santa. He was saying that there is such thing as a judicial what's it called? I wrote it down somewhere. Where they're protected from prosecution when they are actually acting in a prosecutorial manner. I can't think of the word. It'll come to me. I didn't get much sleep last night. I was up too late live streaming. Yeah. Belmonte, there she goes. She died in February 6th in Key West from complications from chronic obstruction. I should have written this article. Under Florida law, prosecutors don't have to prove which of the 3 men charged with murdering Bonnet or attacking Belmont used the knife. Well, there was no DNA evidence of Ty's on the knife at all. There's no evidence of his DNA anywhere. Not on the truck. Nowhere. In my eyes, she will always be my hero, choosing to be my friend when everyone was still trying to convince her that I'm just a horrible monster, Tucker posted about her death. She fought for my freedom right up until the end, and I will never forgive the way they treated her. The jury's split verdict in January hasn't deterred Mansfield from returning to court. We've got evidence we feel proves he was involved in this murder, he said. Several jurors believed in the evidence. Speculative hearsay. Even some of Tucker's stronger supporters want him to hire attorneys this time. Yes, I think that the time has come, Ty. Time has come. Yes, that's it. Prosecutor. Oh my God. Prosecutorial immunity. That's it. Yes, I think they are actually covered in some way, shape, or form against civil action after the trial. Okay, cool. That's handy to know. Yeah, I need to look up the definition of prosecutorial immunity, and if it applies in Florida, not sure. I've just been flat out preparing for tomorrow night. Excuse me. Tucker, you did an outstanding job representing yourself, but hire a dang lawyer, man, one commented on his Facebook post. There, going nuclear on you, bro. So you can check out his Facebook page. It's free, Franklin Tucker. And he also has a YouTube page, free Franklin Tucker. Now, I noticed through this article when I went through it, see there's the red bits. I went to this bit here and I clicked on it. It's not let me do it now. And right here, you can put in his details. Search. Look at that. Straight up. There you go. There's his ID, his age, he's white, how much he weighs, if he farted yesterday, and he's being held as a fugitive. Fugitive felony, unsentenced, and he's waiting to be collected. So there you go. I did actually send off a request for some information from them. You can go on to I can't remember which one it was, but you can go onto this site and request police reports and all sorts of stuff. I think I asked for the wrong public records request or something. I wanted to get the extradition order, but they didn't give me that. They basically just sent me the same thing that I found during the search. But never mind. It was worth a shot. I agree. He should go with proper counsel this time. He's achieved his objective, and now it's time to get the job done and get out of there and then follow up on all of his civil stuff that he wants to get out there. He's got the attention. Oh, and I've just realised that I apologise for the delay in the live stream. I had to postpone it for half an hour, and I sent it. I thought I sent a message in chat, but I didn't press send. So there you go. It's a delayed. Sorry for delay. It was an emergency. Okay, the nail salon was backed up. All right. 21st century problems. All right. So now I wanted to go through again because nobody heard a word I said yesterday when I brought up the pre-trial release conditions, because when I bring the page up, it mutes my microphone, and so all you saw was this page on there, and here's me talking away, having all these amazing jokes and cacking myself and a little bit of what do they call it? ASMR, the noise slurping my coffee, and nobody heard a word. Rookie mistake. So, if you want to, we can go through these again. And what I'll do is put myself down the bottom. Let me see. So that there we go. So that it doesn't shut me up, because I don't like being shut up. So let me know if you can still hear me. Worth the wait. Thank you. Yes, I read every word of all 9 pages, and not one person in chat said, I can't hear you. So I shall read it again. You don't have to put your reading glasses on. I shall commentate it. Okay? All right. Actually, I might need my bloody reading glasses. I might have to take them off to read it. Oh, yep. Okay. Let's do it, shall we? Comes now. Pro se defendant Franklin Tyrone Tucker, hereinafter Tucker, moves this honourable court to grant the defendant's motion for modification of conditions of pretrial release, as the defendant's 6-year case history shows no indication he is a flight risk or a danger to the public. This includes his voluntary appearance at trial, which concluded on January 25th, 2024, resulting in a mistrial. The defendant's conduct has shown that the original concerns for which the court ordered more restrictive conditions are now unwarranted and unnecessary. That the need to ensure the primary goals of public safety and appearance should be satisfied. Furthermore, the defence will allege that the state has acted unethically throughout the entirety of this case, including at trial. These allegations will be more properly addressed in a forthcoming motion to dismiss the indictment and information. But for the purposes of this motion, we would assert that despite its unethical tactics, the state still failed to prove the charges beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, that's what he needs to focus on. That there, beyond a reasonable doubt. You don't focus on proving your innocence. Your innocence will prove itself. They've got no evidence. The state has the burden. Just create the doubt. Oh, and there's my groceries being delivered. Oops. They can wait for a bit. Where was I? As such, the defence would submit that the nature of the charges should no longer carry the same weight when considering the requested changes in the conditions of pretrial release. That any but the most basic conditions only serve, let me go back, to hinder the defendant's ability to act as counsel for his defence and act as a distraction from the actual issues in litigation. Therefore, the defendant would request that the current pretrial release conditions be modified to the terms the defence has included in its motion, or to any terms the court deems reasonable and just upon review. As grounds for granting this motion to modify conditions of pretrial release, the defence would offer the following: supporting facts and causes endorsing modification of conditions of pretrial release. Un momento. Yes, strong coffee, Vietnamese iced coffee. Okay. The defendant was charged by indictment and information with felony murder and other felony offences stemming from a robbery that occurred November 17th, 2017 at 5651 Laurel Avenue in Stock Island, Florida. The crime has become locally and internationally known as the Treehouse Murder. Number 2, the crime occurred in Monroe County, Florida, with the presiding court having jurisdiction over the pendency of this case. Number 3, the defendant pled not guilty to all charges and voluntarily appeared for all hearings, sometimes late, required, including trial, sometimes late, which began on January 11th, 2024, and continued to appear at all court dates until the decision by jury resulted in a mistrial ordered by the Honourable Mark H. Jones on January 25th, 2024. Honourable. Number 4, The state was unable to convict the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt for the charges currently in litigation, and based on the lack of evidence presented at trial, there is no reasonable expectation that they will ever be able to convict the defendant of these charges, thus making any pretrial conditions unwarranted. Number 5, in addition to the state's lack of evidence, the nature of the allegations for which the defence does have evidence and intends to present in a forthcoming motion are such that there is no reasonable expectation by the defence that the court, as prescribed by law, will fail to dismiss this case with prejudice, also making any pretrial conditions unwarranted. So he's hoping that it will be dismissed, but not a chance, not a hope in hell. Not now. Number 6, there exists no reasonable expectation by any party that the defendant will abscond or fail to appear at any required hearing or at another trial if necessary. Well, no, he won't abscond, but they're making it sound like he's absconding by the fact that he was arrested at the airport because his ankle monitor had gone off and set off a fugitive alert because he didn't follow the correct procedures and let the right people know what was going on and where he was going, even though he was headed back to Florida to surrender himself. He's now been made to look like a fugitive. Number 7. The defendant was incarcerated in Monroe County Jail from November 22nd, 2017 to November 6th, 2019, which blows my mind. Like, they've incarcerated him for 2 years with no evidence, none. And then released by agreed order with the state that required him to post a $2 million bond. Number 8, the conditions of pretrial release were modified a few times in rapid succession due to the defendant's separation with his wife, but ultimately resulted in his relocation to his current residence at Redacted and included a few new terms. The defendant was required to post an additional but significantly reduced bond of $75,000 after the original bond expired. The new bond was lowered and ordered because the court no longer considered the defendant a possible flight risk, but due to the severity of the charges, felt that a monetary security was still necessary. The new bond was posted on December 22nd, 2022. So they've still got the $75,000, but now they want 3.1. So $75,000 was okay to release him on pre-trial release for murder, but the 3.1 million is for a P sample that he didn't submit on time. Something's really smelly. Something's really fishy. Number 10. During the entire litigation of this case, the defendant has not committed any infraction of the law and has shown no indication that he represents any danger to the public. Number 11. Under the current condition, the defendant is required to remain at his residence at Redacted, where he may only leave for employment, religious services, legal appointments, and medical care. This condition has precluded him from daily life activities such as shopping for groceries. Well, mine just arrived. Or other life necessities. Walking or taking his dog to veterinary services, going to the post office or other government offices, and assisting his wife with family obligations, among other things. Additionally, this requirement has significantly added to the costs of litigation by requiring that all life necessities such as groceries, clothing, and personal care items be delivered to the defendant's residence at a higher cost. I don't know about you, but I get everything delivered. Everything. To eliminate the additional costs and allow the defendant more self-reliance, the defence would request that this requirement be modified as indicated under the suggested conditions. Number 12, the defendant has been required to wear an ankle monitor throughout the entirety of his pretrial release. The main purpose of this device, besides ensuring he stay in authorised locations, is to act as a deterrent to absconding or avoiding appearance before this court. So he knew that it was there to ensure that he stay in authorized locations. So by traveling to the airport, it was an unauthorized location. So he knows these conditions. He knows these terms. Yes. He didn't fail it. He didn't fail the test. He passed the test. He just didn't submit it in time. That's it. And that's cost him 3.1. The defendant has I said that. This condition also adds to the cost of litigation at an approximate total of $6,720 to date. It's a drop in the water compared to 3.1, really. Additionally, it offers the state the ability to request the defendant be returned to pretrial detention simply because of malfunction, damage, or human error causes the unit to stop working or provide a false location. Now, apparently he was told off by Judge Jones at some point because he failed to keep it charged and it went flat. And it's his responsibility to maintain that in good working order. So I think that's why he's mentioned that there. The unit also requires the defendant to take 2 hours out of every day to charge, during which very little else can be achieved. Now, why you wouldn't just plug it in whilst you're in bed asleep, that would work, and then you don't have to sit there plugged into a PowerPoint for 2 hours. Multitask, snore and charge. This has presented problems in the past with scheduling other required activities associated with release or in conducting the defence. With the additional costs, the additional risk of hindrances to the defendant, and the absence of any reason to believe the defendant will fail to appear, the defence would again request that this condition be modified as indicated in the suggested conditions. 13. Currently, the defendant is under the condition that he refrain from the use of alcohol, requiring that he present himself for random urinalysis at his expense. So he knew the terms of this as well. This condition requires the defendant to avoid contact or use of a wide range of common products, including but not limited to mouthwash. Now, as far as I'm concerned, urinalysis is a sample of your urine, and they test for the presence of alcohol. So the urine is a byproduct of kidney filtration. So you pretty much have to ingest it for it to come out in your pee. So you're going to drink mouthwash, antiseptics. Apparently there's some cooking ingredients, certain foods, medication, yes, okay, I'll go with that. Cleaning supplies, hygiene products, energy drinks, yeah, I can go with that. Non-alcoholic beverages and others. In addition to the large number of products containing alcohol, the defence has researched the current testing methods and found the accuracy of these test results is only 70%. False results could be either positive or negative, but this seems extraordinarily high to be a condition which could potentially require the defendant to return to pretrial detention. Well, it's pretty much null and void now, isn't it? Blah, 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 another distraction from here. Currently, testing costs him approximately $320 a month. The defendant has no history of violent behaviour or crimes relating to alcohol and poses no threat to the public. Therefore, with the potential risk of false results and incarceration, the added distraction and the added cost, the defence would request that this condition also be modified as indicated in the included suggestions. 14. The defence is requesting these pretrial conditions of release in good faith, with only the most restrictive conditions modified to allow the defendant greater self-reliance, reduce the already exorbitant costs associated with litigation, reduce distraction from the actual cause and risks to the defendant, allow the defendant the ability to be more effective in his defence, and afford the defendant more freedoms, for which his displayed conduct over 6 years and the recent result at trial would warrant. So these are Ty's suggested conditions of pre-trial release. This is what he wanted them to alter them to. So this is the motion to amend those conditions. 1. The defendant remain at liberty, subject to the $75,000 bond posted as collateral to assure his appearance in court. 2. That the defendant's wife, Lauren Janai, remain the surety for the bond and emergency contact if pretrial services is unable to contact the defendant immediately and requires response in less than 24 hours. Mrs. Janai will also contact pretrial services and inform them if the department is injured, deceased, or any other circumstances that would prevent him from communicating. Perhaps incarceration might need to be added to that term. Number 3, that the defendant continues to reside at redacted. A lot of people live there. So long as there is no legal prohibition against it. The defendant notifying pretrial services and if and when his residence becomes subject to any change. Any changes in residence must be approved by the court prior to the actual change taking place. Yeah. Number 4, that the defendant be allowed to leave his residence unrestricted so long as he does not leave the state of Oregon unless otherwise ordered by the court or approved by pretrial services. So he's put that in his motion to amend his pretrial release and then heads on down to the airport with his ankle monitor on. Number 5, doesn't make him guilty though. Maybe a poor decision made, but not guilty, in my opinion. Number 5, all travel outside of the state of Oregon be submitted in writing to pretrial services and is subject to approval by the court. So he knows his limitations. In fact, that's his motion to amend includes all of these. Did he make a phone call to anybody? Did he alert anybody to say, hey, I'm headed down? It would have saved the state a lot of money. Now they've got to get all these transport things organised to get him down there and carry a ton of shackles as well, apparently. Number 6, defendant be released from electronic monitoring but continue with the weekly checks already required. That the defendant also be subject to random checks via phone or email and that failure to reply to pretrial services within 24 hours would constitute a failure to comply unless he can show extreme circumstances preventing him from contact. Well, I think we're in one of those extreme circumstances now. Additionally, any violation of the conditions of contact, movement, or appearance included herein without extreme circumstances be considered a failure to comply that would, upon order of the court, subject the defendant to being again monitored electronically unless the violation is considered so severe as to return him to pretrial detention. I think we strike that one as well. Number 7. The defendant continues to abide by all laws applicable to his location reporting and any contact with law enforcement to pretrial services. If the defendant is found to have violated the law and alcohol use is found to be an underlying factor in the crime committed, this factor will weigh heavily in any decision the court makes concerning his possible return to pretrial detention. I don't know why they're testing him for alcohol. No idea. It's never been an issue in this. It's got nothing to do with the trial whatsoever. I digress. Number 8. That the defendant no longer be required to take random urinalysis tests with the understanding of the condition above and the weight with which the court will consider any crime that has alcohol as its underlying factor. Well, I don't think we need to worry about that one anymore either. Number 9, any other terms which were not addressed in this motion would remain in effect until further order of this court. So, thank you, Jody. We managed to get through that and hopefully everybody heard it this time. You ning nong. All right. Forgive me. I'm a newbie, all right? I'm only a wee little one. So that's our little update on Mr. Ty. I went through his YouTube and Facebook, and there are no updates on there. And I went through Lauren's as well. There is no updates on there. But we still have oh, hang on. Oh, more comments. Your testing his routine has been, yeah. I'm 30 and just going to antagonize the data. Well, yeah, it's. I thought it was important to go through the conditions so that we could understand what they were and how he failed them. Basically, excellent. You heard me this time. There was way less ASMR than there was last night. I've got a straw tonight. So, yes. I still haven't heard back. I'm still waiting on an email from Justice is a Process. Fantastic YouTube creator, has a channel, and yes, tomorrow night, which is your American time, Saturday evening, my time, Sunday lunchtime, so Mother's Day. Yes, we've got some new info and a different insight. We've been working together, and hopefully the plan is tomorrow night to come together as a collaboration and do a live stream, a combined live stream. And I'm just still waiting to confirm the actual time of that, so bear with. But I thought we'd just do a quick update on those few things and amend and apologise for my dumbness in making everyone read those yesterday because I didn't see the mute screen. Yes, do put your notification on because it's going to be a ripper. It's a ripper. I'm very excited. Very excited. Yes, and yeah, do go ahead and go over to his page and check him out. Justice is a Process. He is, as I said, the encyclopedia as far as Ty Tucker goes. His dad was a well-renowned defense attorney, and whilst Justin is not an attorney at all qualified, he's grown up around it and he's been exposed to it, so he has an extremely good understanding of the process of law, of everything, and he explains it really, really well, much better than I can do. So I have had his permission to stream footage from his live streams, which I have done in a couple of my previous streams. So check them out. Go back and have a squiz to update yourself before we get into the juicy stuff tomorrow. Juicy. All right. So I know it was a bit of a quick one, but thank you again for joining me and putting up with me, listening to me. And I shall go and put my Jimmy Jams on, I think, and have an early one ready for tomorrow. All right. Thank you again. And as I said, this outro I made, you'll have a laugh because I made the words up and put it to an AI app, and so it's created this song. And I think it's hysterical. Yes, thank you, Bri. I'm really, really excited, But check out this. I'll turn the volume up to make sure that everyone can hear it. I need to work out how to convert it to an MP3 so that it's got a better sound quality. But I will play it for you anyway, for you to have a giggle. All right. Arrivederci. I bid you adieu. Thanks again.
Covering true crime and police arrest, where the judges move